Now, Terence Crutcher is a black man that was a father of four that was killed when his car basically stalled out in the middle of the highway. A couple of police officers came to check it out. And then, well, after that, the situation devolved very, very quickly. Yesterday, I showed you guys the video of that where he had his hands up. He was walking towards his car with his hands up. As soon as he got to the car, he was then tased and shot at pretty much the same time. Now, he was shot by Officer Betty Shelby. And look, she claimed that, hey, man, he's reaching inside his car. He's reaching inside his car. We don't know what was in there. Could have been a gun. So I had to shoot him. Well, some of the video, and I'm going to actually show you a clip of his attorneys, including Benjamin Crump, debunking that. Let's take a listen.
It is very clear, even when we just try to bring attention to simply the window, you can see that it is completely up and there is blood going almost to the top of the window. So we thought it was important to address this misinformation that had been put out in public consumption. And again, we do not believe, regardless if the window was up or down, that this shooting was justified. This is clearly a case of excessive force. And the video is there.
The video's there. We've shown it. The window was up. He couldn't have been reaching into his car if the window was up. So what was going on? Now, Crump also accused police department spokesperson Officer Jean McKenzie of spreading that misinformation. Oh, she was in danger. Shelby was, and he was reaching for something. No, it was pretty likely that as he was getting tased, that caused him to flinch. And then she's, oh my God, he's reaching. I don't know. It's pretty clear that he wasn't doing anything wrong. I mean, he wasn't doing anything wrong in the first place. And yet these officers, for some reason, they just felt like they had to subdue him. I don't know.
Didn't they say they were trying to say that he had like PCP on him or something like that, right?
Oh yeah, I think. Yeah, actually,
this is what I don't get.
This is the smearing of this man, of Terence Crutcher. Like this is how it happened. Yeah, this is like, oh, every time a black man is shot by the police, immediately, and look, sometimes it is a justified shooting. A lot of times it isn't. They'll come up and they'll look through their past, or they'll try to say something like, oh, no, he had a gun. He was reaching for his waistband. He was on drugs. I mean, you heard the helicopter footage that I played yesterday. No, yeah, he's probably high on something. He's on something. He looks like a bad dude. Oh, why does he look like a bad dude? And why would you assume
black
in a helicopter looking down, he's on something? I think he's on something. Really? I didn't get that impression. Maybe you've got some sort of special training or special vision, like druggo vision that I don't have, to see that somebody.
How did the media treat Brock Turner?
Not very, pretty good actually. Oh, this is gonna hurt.
I mean, they were like,
this is gonna hurt his future. Poor guy.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he could have been an Olympic swimmer. He was gonna, have a bright future ahead of him, and then 20 minutes of action ruined his life. Who fucking who? Like seriously, like I don't care.
I think the biggest issue here is it fits a pattern because I've also covered and published articles about other incidents of unarmed shootings, and it's always the case. There was an incident, I believe it was in Florida. This was a white male who was shot while being tased by coincidentally another female officer while he was on the ground. And you always hear, again, this smearing, like, oh, this is his record, but you never see the police officer's record and complaints released with them. And it is the most public campaign of trying to always excuse a shooting, and that's why a lot of people are pushing for citizen review boards and not just having DAs prosecute these things, because DAs like, oh yeah, I work with this officer every day. Of course they didn't murder anyone. And just anyone who wants to question or see if a shooting was justified after the person is found unarmed and of no threat, and you want to criticize it, just imagine a family member, someone you care about, someone you know, in that situation, and they're bleeding out on the street while police officers wait over 2 minutes while this individual bleeds out and doesn't even try to administer any kind of CPR. We don't even treat terrorists overseas that way. So this is something that is a problem. It's a problem with training and just understanding. There's a lot of great police officers out there. One actually came forward. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. About I believe that he came out about the shooting, about this incident, not the one in Charlotte. There's so many now. It's getting out of control, and it's just like you have to start. I mean, police officers are there to protect and to serve. You have to start holding them to that standard. Does anyone want to see police officers being shot? No. Is every single police shooting unwarranted? No. But the ones that are just in cold blood, they need to be held accountable. If they're found unsuitable for duty, they shouldn't be officers. It's really that simple. It's not a war on police. It's not saying all cops are pigs or all cops are monsters. This is, we have to change the system and hold bad officers accountable for their actions.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was going to go to a video here to go back to the PCP thing, right? And this is from David Riggs. He was also speaking at this press conference with the reporters outside the Tulsa County courthouse with Benjamin Trump. And he actually had this to say about the whole PCP thing.
Well, I was asked to address one issue that's been surfaced, and I'm not sure the facts about this. I'm not sure that anybody knows for certain. It's been suggested that Mr. Crutcher was under the influence of drugs or some intoxicant, some substance at the time. We do not know if that's true or not. We're looking into that. Let's assume that it was. You have to ask yourself again, what is the proper way to handle a situation where someone is acting in a strange way and perhaps not entirely in control of his emotions or his mental state at that time? This is the textbook case of how not to treat someone in that condition. I heard just this morning, as a coincidence, a public public information announcement about being some psychiatrist was being quoted about the fact that we have such a high level of drug abuse or drug addiction in all parts of our society, top to bottom, and how until we start treating it as a condition requiring care and concern and an appropriate approach, until we start treating it as a disease, frankly, we're not going to be able to handle that condition. In no way was Mr. Crutcher, if he were under the influence of any substance, there's no way this is an appropriate way to treat him when he clearly was presenting as someone suffering from some kind of unusual mental or medical condition. We just want to put to rest the idea that there somehow that justified his being treated as a criminal who was a threat to other people. Not everybody who's under the influence of some drug is a threat to other people, and we can't begin treating everybody in our society at whichever level they might be from as someone who is a threat to the rest of us because they have a serious condition known as drug addiction.
And I think he's pretty right on that.
Car was stalled. If my car just stalled in the road, I would be kind of freaking out a little bit. But other than that,
or if your car was, or add on to that, if your car was stalled and some cops were all suspicious about it and going, "Hey, what's going on here? What are you doing? You doing something wrong?" And look, we don't know if that's the conversation, right? But based on what happened, well, you could assume it wasn't really a friendly visit. Remember, they were heading on to another call when they saw this man's car broke down, and then they decided to investigate and then call for backup.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a suspicious stop to me.
I mean, I have a little bit of an issue of coming from the stance of if he was under the influence. I think we should assume he was not until it's proven that he was.
Yep.
Because even saying that he, quote unquote, if he was, is giving too much credence to an excuse, because if you just look at, again, this full video, even if he was under the influence of anything, there's nothing in the video that shows that he was somehow an immediate danger to anyone's life.
Yeah, but see, he didn't actually make that point, though. That was his whole point. Like, say he was. That doesn't justify this. That doesn't justify the actions that were taken, and this is not the way to handle somebody who is, much less who isn't on any sort of substance. So I think he was actually trying to do this to make that point, Walter.
He seemed to be
I can see that point, but it just seems I can just see the right-wing machine leaving out all of that other stuff and just highlighting the point, that point, and drilling that into people's heads, and that's all anyone's going to hear.
They're probably going to be like, he was on PCP. He deserved to get shot. He was probably maybe the officer saw that he was going to be threatening towards them. Like, I can only imagine what the right-wing machine is going to be saying about that.
Wait. So you're saying the right wing is going to take something out of context? No. You've got to be kidding me.
They never do that. No, they don't do that.
Look, they're going to smear him no matter what. The point is that what we really want to get out is we want to get the facts out about the case.
Justice.
The window was up, and even if he was on drugs, which there's no proof that he was, well, that still doesn't deserve, him to be shot. He still didn't deserve that.
Even tasing in that instance on the video was unwarranted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't charging after them or anything.
Right. And this is, once again, like, let's go back to why this happens in the first place. We got to fix the training. Okay, we got to stop having, police out there thinking that everyone, everything is a mortal threat. Okay, we got to change this. We got to tell them, look, if you're going to render assistance in a situation, render actual assistance. There are so many stories where people call the police expecting help and then end up with someone getting shot.
Yeah, like for a car stall, you would call like OnStar or AAA or something like that. Like your car insurance company or something like that, right? That deals with those situations.
Well, again, he didn't call the cops. Nobody did. They just saw him in the middle of the road, which the car shouldn't be there, obviously. So naturally, you're going to check it out. But see, the thing is that if you're going to check it out as a police officer, you want to render assistance, not immediately start issuing commands and then, oh my God, he's not following my commands. This wasn't a police stop. He wasn't doing anything criminally wrong. He just had a little string of misfortune that ended up killing him.
Wrong time.
Wrong time, and definitely the wrong reaction by the police. Yeah. And so, look, we need to change that system. We need to change the training. We need to get our cops to really focus on de-escalation. And that's something that doesn't get focused on enough. De-escalate the situation, it should be incumbent on the officer because they're supposed to be held to a higher standard than a regular Joe Blow citizen.
A lot of them are minor incidents that lead to, someone getting killed. Like, your car stalled or like a tail light or, something. So that's one thing a lot of these shootings have in common is that starts off with a very minor situation. Exactly.
Like the other shooting that happened in what was it, Charlotte, right? That was just a guy who was sitting there not doing anything. He was sitting there waiting outside of school, supposedly reading a book. Oh, no, it's a gun, it's a gun. Really, gun and a book look pretty different. But it ended up, somebody getting shot for no reason, who was just sitting there minding their own business.
And unfortunately, that story is already changing. That was Keith Lamont Scott. And the chief came out and said, oh, it was a gun, not a book. We didn't find the book. Unfortunately, there's no video there, so the police are going to frame a story in a certain way, so we might never really know the truth, unfortunately, to that case.
So even if it was a gun, what happened to Second Amendment rights? right? Doesn't this man have his right to a weapon?
Flando Castile didn't.
Oh,
And that's the other case that's frustrating. And they're all frustrating.
that's
And
Facebook Live.
yeah, where he sat there and bled out on camera. Look, hey, I got a gun. I got, it's legal. I've got a permit. I want to show you. Blam.
No amount of proof can help at this point. Like no amount of videos.
There needs to be different training, citizen councils, because the fact is people are acting like it doesn't affect all communities, but when these families settle for a court case and for millions of dollars, what money do you think is being used? That's taxpayer money. So even if your community isn't seeing this at a regular rate, your money is being used to pay families because of bad policing. So, and the honesty is it's affecting every single American group there is. It's not just a non-white issue. It's a all Americans issue, but people want to cover up their eyes unless it's happening directly in front of them or to someone they know. Because I firmly believe that even people I personally know who think these issues are not a big deal and you should have quote unquote followed orders, that if it happened to someone they know and they care about, they would be the first ones yelling about, oh, we need to do something to fix this. Like, you didn't say that when it was happening to someone else. Isn't that a little ironic? And that's a sad way to look at it, but it's honestly true.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.